No, went to Boston, did the Boston Marathon. Well, we crossed the half marathon at 1:26, so we're on pace for 2:52. By 16 and a half, I personally was cramping in my rib cage, which I had never cramped in my rib cage before. And I started cramping in my shins, and then just cramps everywhere from that point on. Let's shoot for sub 3:30, which I did, like 3:26 at that point.
Well, I just ran my 8th marathon last weekend in
Whoop, whoop.
Pennsylvania.
All right.
I didn't get the time I trained for.
Okay, so I ran my hometown half.
Yeah.
So I did race. I'm racing.
Do we get to hear what your time was?
In my hometown half.
Yeah.
Um.
What happens when three runners
From different parts of the country.
with different running stories,
all get together?
Pure.
RunTok.
madness,
So listen in as we talk about all things running related.
and some things that maybe aren't running related.
As it's bound to be a good time. This is
RunTok
RunTok
Live.
All right, everybody, let's get into this episode 52 of RunTok Live. What is up? We are starting a new trend here. We've got 2 episodes in a row where all 3 of us, particularly Carolyn, who's usually the odd one out, have been wearing hats. Two episodes in a row we're 3 for 3 on hats.
Listen, the weather has been so nice in Texas, so I finish work, I go running, and then I come back. So you get my post-running look.
what is that? Is it a running hat too that you're wearing?
Yeah, it is. And it's one of those hats that has like the high ponytail hole thingy in the back.
Okay.
So, and
Girl
it's like,
hat.
yeah. So, I mean, it's perfect.
My
Me and Jake are sporting alter ego as usual.
I am. This is our punt. This is the 10-mile, the race hat that they put on. So this is actually the Ponte Verde 10-miler hat.
This is one of their new ones that just came out here fairly recently.
Like the teal color? I like that.
Yeah.
Do you wear it that way when you run, or do you do the backwards hat situation?
Backwards.
I do the backwards hat situation.
It feels weird to wear.
Very rarely do I run with the forwards hat, but I'm just I'm a backwards hat kind of guy. I don't know what to say.
The only time you'll see me running with my hat forwards is if it's raining out. Like I'll especially if I'm wearing my glasses, I'll use it to shield my glasses a little bit. That's it.
Quick question. Isn't the point of a hat to block the sun so you don't have to wear sunglasses when you run?
Don't you want to not get the back of your neck burnt either? I mean, it blocks sun on both directions.
Valid.
No, in the summertime it's kind of bad because I actually have to not run with a hat on every once in a while, or else I get the weird tan line right here. Yeah, you got to even it out a little bit.
Yeah, you got the hat tan line, you get the watch tan line, you get the sock tan line. Those are your tan lines.
Yep, the typical running tan lines.
See, girls have it made because they got long hair, and they can at least cover the back of their neck with that.
Yeah, but we still get the awkward sports bra tan lines and.
Yeah, I get that sports bra tan line all the time.
Yeah, okay, so you get it. It's a pain.
Yep. Here's the weird one that I got. I got it real bad a couple years ago, and it the first time I'd ever really noticed it. But the elbow pit, right there, because you're always running like this, and my arms, I just a couple of years ago, I had it really bad. You could see where my arms were just always creased from running out in the summertime. It wasn't. There was just stripes right here from where my arm was creased.
I don't know that I've had that, or maybe I've had that and I just never noticed it.
Like I said, I only noticed it a couple of years ago for the first time ever. It was the weirdest thing.
Have you ever, Chase, obviously, Carolyn, you probably don't fit into this category, but have you ever shaved your face midsummer and then just this is whiter than everything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one always feels weird. What about you, Carolyn? Have you ever just shaved your face and then ever had it just be whiter than everything else?
All the time. It's weird. And I think that's where really the foundation, the makeup comes in. You really just hide those.
Scrape it right off.
You know what? Yeah, story of my life.
Oh man.
Well, anyway, enough of this banter. It's actually been a pretty exciting couple weeks since we were together last. Jake went to some city. They do a race there. What was it?
Boston or something? Oh, something like that.
They like tea. I know that.
Yeah, they like tea.
They like tea.
They like tea and apparently uniforms. So no, went to Boston. Did the Boston Marathon. Spent a few days there.
Yes, Boston. 2-time Boston finisher now, right?
2-time Boston finisher. I'll tell you what, the coolest thing I get to say about this is the first time I ran Boston, 2018. That's the year Des Linden won the marathon. The last time, this most recently, is the year Des Linden retires from the marathon.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Those are the two races that I ran.
Yeah.
The start, I call it the start and the end, even though she's been running Boston long before that, but the championship and the end.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. She definitely left a legacy there. So with 2018, did she win one other time? Was she a 2-time winner? Just 18?
She came in third one time, and that was the closest that she came. Yeah, 2018 is when she ran it, and those are, and quite possibly the hardest conditions to run in.
Right.
And she won it that year. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. She said she retired from professional marathon racing, meaning she's still going to run marathons, but she's no longer going to be most likely in the elite corral, right? She'll be, as she said, I'll be in wave 1. And she goes, hopefully I'll be in wave 1. Dude, you're going to be in wave 1. Like, stop. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I did not get to meet her. I did not get to see her. But yeah, I don't know.
Tell us about the race. I mean, do you want to start with the race, or do you want to start with like the lead up to the race? Because I know it's been a couple weeks, but Boston, like the whole weekend experience, is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, and stop me if I go on too much, because I could talk forever about it. But weather conditions were actually, in my opinion, pretty prime. Like, a lot of people were saying it was on the warmer side, and it did get warm. The race starts at 10 a.m., right, for a lot of runners, and starts even later for other runners. So I imagine it was warm. But the city was booming. There were so many group runs to choose from all around the city. Puma was doing them. Track Shack was there doing them. Matt Choi was there doing them. Matt Choi guy. No, there was a ton of them, and you couldn't walk around the city. I got there technically 2 days before, and every single person was wearing a Boston Marathon shirt, jacket, hat, something of some nature there. So that city definitely shuts down for the Boston Marathon for like 4 days. Like, it's Boston or nothing. It's Boston Marathon or nothing there. What else, man? The weather was good the whole time. I will tell you this. Can I tell you this is the funniest thing that I'm mad at myself for? So I went to the expo. I don't even know if I have it here. Well, I do. Well, anyways, I went to the expo, and my thing when I go to marathons is I want to get a cowbell. Every marathon I go to, I want a cowbell. Can never get too much cowbell. And the expo was definitely a whole lot different than in 2018, the last time I did it. 2018, it was a massive expo, like massive. This time it didn't feel very massive at all. And a lot of people were saying that it wasn't very big. A lot of that's because Adidas pretty much, like, I guess they did some sort of contract where they like own the majority of the expo. So it's all Adidas stuff. But so you go in the first section, it's all, the first half of the expo is all Adidas. And I didn't know that there was more to the expo outside of that. So I went in there, I was like, dude, I got to get a cowbell. And I finally find one. They're at the register. They're $8 freaking for a cowbell. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I'll just buy it. Buy the cowbell, and then they direct me out. And then you go into a whole other section of the expo. And that's where all the other vendors are that give everything away for free. Everyone was giving away cowbells. all Boston Marathon cowbells. I wasted $8 for no reason. I wanted, so I did get the free one too. So now I got 2 cowbells. But
I want to say that's how it was set up when I went in 22.
yeah,
Similar
and again,
setup.
I haven't been there in between, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But a lot of people were saying that the expo quality has diminished, which I've seen it.
Well, it's something that I noticed with Boston, probably more so than either Berlin or Chicago, but the pop-up shops. I think maybe there's quite a few in Chicago too. Maybe
Yeah.
I just didn't notice it in Berlin because I wasn't, I'm not used to being in Germany. But the pop-up shops in Boston, like you could find
Oh yeah.
Boston stuff everywhere, like just down the street, like
Yeah.
every road you went down.
Yeah. I walked from my hotel, which was on the opposite side of the Commons, where I had to walk through the Commons to walk down the street to get to the expo. So it was about like a 1.2 mile walk to the expo, which I did. I just walked it. And along that 1.2 mile walk, there's at least three pop-ups just on that route down there. Plus they had the whole like finish line area, closed off 2 days in advance so people can get their pictures and do all the party stuff.
What's that one road where a lot of the places, is it Newberry? Is that right?
Maybe
I think that's one of the roads that has a bunch of pop-up shops on it too.
Yeah, there was a ton of them. And a lot of them you had to sign up for in advance to like even get access into it.
Sure.
So,
and that was that's one thing that we bash Brooks a lot on here, so I'll give my Brooks kudos. That was when I went to Boston, that was like one of the only pop-up shops that was like still rocking and rolling by Sunday afternoon. Like they still had stuff to give away. Every other pop-up shop that I went to was just like wiped out, which I mean, it was Sunday, the day before the marathon, but Brooks was like, I walked in, they still had hats and shirts and I got a coffee mug. And so yeah, kudos to Brooks on that one.
Yeah. And I didn't take advantage of the pop-up shops while I was there. I wanted to stay off my feet as much as possible. Yeah. That's really what it was. Remember how Jeff gave us that advice? He was like, stay off your feet.
And I think I said the same thing. If I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't have done it the way I did it. So
yeah, I mean, my time on feet was essentially my walk down and my walk back. I did do a lap around the Commons, jogging, just to say I could do it while I was there. But outside of that, I was in the hotel enjoying them. In the hotel, the Godfrey Hotel, listeners, Godfrey Hotel, they were amazing. They asked for your bib number when you check in, which I thought was weird. So I gave them my bib number. When I came back from my finish line, or from finishing the Boston Marathon, they had in my hotel room waiting for me a printed. They printed this out. It's I don't know if you can see it with the glare there, but it's a map of the Boston Marathon, and they put my name on there, the day and time, and my time. They had tracked me, and they did it for everybody. They tracked.
That is so cool.
And this was sitting for me in a frame in my room when I came back from the race.
That's awesome.
A bag of goodies. They have protein bars, chocolate milk. Every single night, they had a snack basket in your room that they restocked every morning for you. Whatever you ate, they stocked it back up again.
How much was a night to stay in that place?
$337. I did it through Marathon Tours.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. It was
not
really
too bad. Good. It was, like I said, I was able to walk to the convention. It's right by the Commons. Good restaurants around there. The whole place is nothing but Boston Marathon runners in that hotel over the weekend. And when I came back, they had laid out their lobby with like a mock Boston Marathon finish line. And when you come in, all of their staff are sitting there with cowbells, and they create a tunnel for you, and you walk in and they cheer for you, and you cross the finish line into the hotel. It was the coolest thing.
That's pretty awesome. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, no other hotels ever. And they hook you, like, I don't drink, but they hook you up with three free drinks to the bar, which I just bought Dr. Pepper when I was there. Yeah, I highly recommend the Godfrey Hotel.
Very cool. Very cool. All
Yeah.
right. So what about the race? Tell us about the race. How'd it go?
For me personally, I didn't have a good race, right? I was telling one of the guys I was running with, he's a friend of mine from Jacksonville. We call him the Beard. He's known as the Bearded Runner. Um, I was telling him, I was like, listen, if I run one good marathon out of every four. Like that's really what it boils down to. I said, so I'm on track to not run a good marathon today, but I really want to. Like I'm in shape. And I was giving him all the tips. He said he wanted to run sub 3. That was his goal. I said, well, good. I'm shooting for a 257. I talked myself up. I was like, I ran this course before. He was new to it. I was like, yeah, just pace off me. We'll be fine. We're going to get to that 257. Well, we crossed the half marathon at 126. So we're on pace for 252 at that point. And I'm like, oh man, we're going too fast. Going too fast. And I was not replenishing myself properly with electrolytes. That was another huge thing. I wasn't doing salt tablets, which I've been training with salt tablets. And by 16 and a half, I personally was cramping in my rib cage, which I had never cramped in my rib cage before. And that was the most debilitating thing, where I had to stop at 16 and a half miles. I tried to carry it to like 17.2, and I started cramping in my shins, and then just cramps everywhere from that point on. I was like, all right, well, this race is done. Let's shoot for sub 330, which I did, like 326 at that point. I was on pace for 16 and a half miles for a 252, which was not the plan, but I have no reason. It was self-induced. Like I did not run smart. I did not run the way that I should have ran. And I did what a lot of people do. I got carried up in the motion of the excitement at the race. The downhill, of course, you can't help it. And then the fact that I was running with friends around me that I knew, like it was easy to get distracted because we all ran. None of us, with the exception of the bearded runner who went on to run like a 252, we all kind of took a dip in our times from what we wanted. Jeff was shooting for sub 240. I think he ran like 245. My buddy James was shooting for 245. He ran like 315. It really is a hard race to not run smart, or to run smart, I should say.
Yeah, just everything about it is, and I know we've talked about it before on here, but like the one way route, you have to go the taking the bus out to Hopkinton, at the early in the morning, and standing around for hours, like all of it is just not set up for you to PR. Like Boston, I just don't feel like Boston's really set up for you to PR. A lot of people do, but like to me, it's not an ideal condition, right? Like I think that's.
Well, we were a little bit spoiled. That's
right. You got the direct
we had
trip,
our own
didn't
private bus. We had a
Yeah.
bathroom. It took us, like, we parked at the elementary school, like right next to the village. We got to stay on that bus. That stayed there the entire time. I had our own little warm up area. Like we were spoiled with that. We didn't have to. We like walked basically when it was our time. We just kind of walked through the village to the start area, and
Yeah.
the race started. Like we didn't have to do a lot of that. It's still a long walk, Carolyn, for future reference. You still have to walk quite a ways from the village to the starting area. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's nothing I can point at and be like, oh, it was the weather, or it was, someone riding along with e-bikes and their camera crew knocking people over, or I can't say any of that. I'm sorry, I gotta take my stabs when I can. But it was just, I didn't fuel properly during the race. I fueled properly before, but I didn't fuel properly during the race, and I just didn't run smart for that first half. That's what it came down to. Did I have fun? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I think all in all, I consider it was a great weekend. But the highlight of my trip was Minneapolis afterwards. That was the best part of my 8 day trips. I was gone for 8 days total. And I did do a half marathon there, as you guys know. I am very happy with my half marathon time because my legs were pretty shot from Boston. And people in Minneapolis, their version of flat is not Florida's version of flat. So when the person at the starting line told me, like, oh, yeah, this is a PR course, it's so flat, he was a effing liar, I'll tell you that. But because it was just rolling hills the entire time. But all things considered, I ran a 126 something, and I was actually very happy with that because I was thinking, like, oh, like, I just give me a 130. Like, my legs are shot right now. Let me just go run this race. And I ended up running good. Like, I was happy with that time. And I highly recommend Twin Cities. Sorry, it's on the back of the shirt. Twin Cities Getting Gear Half Marathon is what it's called. Because you start in St. Paul and you end in Minneapolis.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Did you see anybody cool there?
No, not really. I can't think of anybody offhand. I'll start with, well, first, do you guys know? So I have the Boston Marathon here, and you guys, or the medal here, you guys know they changed the design for the medal, right?
Yeah.
Did you read up on it as to why they changed the design? The biggest change is the direction the unicorn is facing. That's the biggest change. The unicorn was always facing the other direction. If you notice, if you look at your other medals, Chase, or anything like that. Did you read up on why?
No.
So I had an opportunity, person A that I met. I got to meet the race director for the Boston Marathon at the RRCA convention in Minneapolis. He was a guest speaker there. He taught a class while we were there, and he sat at my table when we were eating breakfast. It was the coolest thing. And how I met him was funny because he noticed I was wearing my Boston jacket at the time. He goes, "Oh, you ran Boston this year?" I was like, "Yeah, I've done it, or I did it this year." And he was asking me how it went. And I was telling him, and I was like, "Have you ever done Boston before?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm familiar with it." And he like played it cool. And then my coworker that was there with me, the president of the organization that sent me there, Joni, she like nudges me and she goes, "That's the race director for Boston Marathon." I was like, "Oh." And I just totally like, I basically wanted to bow to the guy. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like, and he was so humble and so cool. And he started asking me, he's like, "What do you think of the race this year? What do you think of the medal, the design?" And I was telling him, my input. And I asked him, why the change? And so I got it directly from the source. And he said the biggest change was the direction of the horse, the direction of the point on the unicorn. And he goes, we wanted it to emphasize that we're moving forward. So he wanted the direction of the horse to face forward versus the horn was always facing, if you held it this way, is always facing the backwards, I guess, the opposite direction. So he looked at it as this direction's meant to face forward. I thought it was pretty cool. Chase is looking at it like he doesn't agree with that description, but
hey, whatever, I guess. But it's pointing in a direction, and it's all. Never mind. I'm not gonna overthink. Whatever. Cool. I'm glad that you got a cool answer. The answer to that perplexing question that was really stumping us all.
And so they had to repaint the finish line. They had to repaint the starting line to mimic the new design. The only thing they can't repaint is at the halfway point, they have a design in there. And because of some rule, like city ordinance rule or something, they aren't allowed to repaint that. Which is why if you see it, it's like more and more faded each year. So that's the one design that they couldn't do. So I thought that was cool. But I got to meet him. It was the coolest thing. Getting to pick his brain a little bit, hearing his story. I am going to try to get him on here. He gave me his personal email, so I thought that was pretty cool. No
Great.
qualms
Then I can give him my
Then
face.
Chase-
Then he can come on here and be like, "What was that face you were?"
He's like, wait, where's Chase? Who's that guy? No, but some of the story, like I thought I did a lot with running. All of us, right? We do a podcast. We have our TikTok stuff. I coach, right? I do Wednesday night track sessions. We all run races. We travel all over. Like we do these races. In my eyes, the three of us are very involved within running. Then you meet all the people I met, but you meet this guy. This guy has done the Boston Marathon 42 years, like raced it. He races it. He's always the last one to finish. And how he does it is after the last person finishes the Boston Marathon, he has a police officer that takes him to the starting line, and it's at like 7:30 at night, and he runs the Boston Marathon solo. Does it every year. He has ran across the country from Medford to Medford. I thought that was cool. He's done like every triathlon, major like lifetime tri race that you can think of. Just all the stories. His grandpa is buried along the course of the Boston Marathon, which is one of the reasons why he's so committed to running it every year, because he made this promise to his grandpa. So that was cool. He DNF'd the first 2 years that he ran Boston. He was a teenager at that point in time. And then he tells the story of this girl that I think she had cerebral palsy, or she had a disability of some sort, who reached out to him and asked if he would let her into the marathon, and he did. And she was also a dwarf. She had dwarfism. And she said, well, my marathon is 26.2 feet. And so at the start of the race, he started her and she went first, and she did 26.2 feet and then got a medal, because she was in a walker. And then the story is he did his thing at the end of that night. And when he finished his marathon, it was pitch black out. She was there with her family to cheer him on. And her response when he crossed was she laughed and she goes, "Ha ha, I beat you." And then I guess she passed away a few months later. So like just hearing stuff like that really humbled me. Like, dude, I'm an ant in a farm of just massive animals in the running world. Like, I haven't even made a dent compared to these people that I've met. So yeah, I met him. That was cool. Then I met this other girl, Dakota Popin, I guess, some Olympic runner, was the fastest American in Paris, whatever.
I think many of us might remember her as Dakota Lindworm.
Dakota Lindworm has since married. Do you know what? Here's what's funny. Do you know what her husband's name is?
Popane?
No, her husband's first name. Her name is Dakota. Her husband's name is Montana. And I thought that was really cool when she was talking about her husband. But yeah, I got to meet her. I put up some TikTok videos. I got to share some photos that I took of her at the trials with her, and get those to her. And she was really appreciative of that. And I kind of told her the story about I didn't know I was standing next to her dad. So I got that. I mean, I didn't get to sit down and eat a meal with her like I did with the race director for Boston. It was more like a 5-minute interaction with Dakota total. But it was really cool to hear her speech. She gave us like just a big breakdown of how she got to where she is, and how she was not a runner, not even in high school. She was actually a hockey player. And she started like the later, like her sophomore or junior year in high school is when she started getting into running. And the only reason why she got faster is because she wanted to beat the boys. She didn't like the boys were beating her. So, no, it was really cool. And she said a lot of words of wisdom that really hit home. And like the one thing she said, someone asked her like, how do you do it? And how'd you get to where you are? And she responded with, the days that I felt the weakest are the days that I ran the hardest. I was like, dude, that's a tough outlook, and that's awesome. Like, that's why you're an Olympian also. How many miles a week do you think she does?
75.
140.
140. Oh,
140.
shit.
Yeah, she says during the off season she's around 120, but when she's training for marathon, she gets about 140. That was brought up by what's her nutrition plan, and her response was, nutrition plan. She goes, I just eat. Like, when you're doing 120 and 140 miles a week, you just eat whatever's in front of you. And that was her nutrition plan. She goes, I eat at least once every hour, and I'll eat Doritos, I'll eat pizza. It doesn't matter. I just eat. But I guess when you run 140 miles a week, you probably can truly eat whatever the heck you want at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and she's tiny.
She's still young, though.
She is still young. She is, her drive right now is the next Olympic trials, right? That's what she's shooting for.
Where's that going to be at, by the way?
The trials, I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I don't know if they've made an official announcement yet. Because they didn't even announce Orlando till it was, like a year before?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, obviously good luck to her, She was, I still remember that trials and watching her in that race and all. She just had a smile on her face the entire time, and that's what who was commentating during that race. I can't remember. Maybe Kara Goucher. I think that sounds right. I think it was Kara Goucher, but she was making that comment too. She was like, she just smiled like it's always just like you just see her big white teeth, and it's just I was just cracking up the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was cool getting to meet her. I just so everyone knows, I tried to get her on the podcast, and I didn't necessarily get rejected. What I got was, you have to speak to this person, and I spoke to that person, and that person said, it's going to be difficult, but give me your number. Basically, nicely telling me it's probably not going to happen is what that's the tone I was getting. But I did get to meet her coach, and I actually took a class with her coach, and that one is a little bit more likely. Honestly, the Boston Marathon director is the best shot we got at getting someone on here, and his response was, "I'll never reject an email. I'll respond to every contact." I said, "All right, cool. Let's
put it to the
make
test."
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome, man. You had a couple really good experiences that not a lot of people in the running world get to have. A lot of people run Boston every year, but there's still a lot of people that are that dream of going. So that's pretty cool that you got to do it. This is your second time now.
I got to meet some other people that I didn't know them prior to meeting them, but just hearing their stories were really neat. Like this one guy that averages 27 marathons a year. He got an award from our RCA, so he talked about that. The most he did was 57 marathons in 1 year. And then, he did this thing where his speech was hilarious. He goes, I'm not going to thank my wife. I know my wife thinks I'm going to thank her for being a part of this, but I'm not going to thank her because she ran, in his mind, he goes, she ran all those races with me. So I'm not thanking her for supporting me because she ran them with me. I thought that was pretty cool. This radio broadcaster got an award, and again, I never heard of him, but apparently he started the very first ever radio-specific talk show, or run-specific talk show for radio, I guess. And he's been doing it for like 40 years or something like that. And he talked about how he traveled the world. And this other guy who does Chicago every year, Chicago Marathon, and how he's inspired because he was mugged in Chicago and at gunpoint, and they tried to shoot him, but the gun kept misfiring, and they eventually just ran away. And he kind of took that as life's too short. Like, I need to run these races as much as possible now, because I guess it happened while he was there for the Chicago Marathon. So there's tons of cool stories.
Yeah.
I highly recommend going. Anyone can go to the RRCA convention. You have to be an RRCA member, but anyone can be a member, I should say. And I highly recommend checking it out. If it comes, it changes locations every year. And they have, depending on where they are, they'll have professional runners from that area, come to those events. Next year, it's wherever the cherry blossom.
DC, right?
Yeah, because that's going to be the race that we're able to do next year.
When is that? That's in the spring, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
April.
Yeah, you've done it a couple times, haven't you, Carolyn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lottery, but your chances of getting in are very, very high.
So we get free entry as the RRCA convention.
Oh, beautiful course.
I'm excited about that.
Beautiful.
Are you going to do it next year, Carolyn?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it just because it is such a, like, you literally run down through the National Mall, so you get to see all of the monuments. It just crowds the whole way. Just gorgeous. I'd recommend to anybody.
Well, if you do it, seriously, you have to sign up for RRCA, but I would sign up, be an RRCA member, and attend the convention, and I'll be there. And again, I don't know who's going to be there as far as guest speakers or anything like that, or who's teaching classes, but it's my one and only experience has been top notch so far.
Okay.
Running in Minneapolis, not my favorite. The city itself. Granted, I was only secluded to a one little area of Minneapolis. They do have the Minnesota Elite, that's where Dakota Potvin started, and there's a bunch of other high-level runners on there. So it's a big running community. I guess I just didn't get to experience the true running areas of Minneapolis while I was there. That's my stuff. I don't know. That's my story.
You didn't take that long.
I could go forever. Honestly, I could do a lot more. I did a bunch of classes. I took a class on race directing, which is actually taught by the race director of Boston Marathon, because I may be directing a race in November, a smaller race, but the board is asking me to get involved, and so I think I'm going to start shadowing a race director here, and then potentially be taking on a race director role here. So I took that class. I took a class with the coach, with Dakota Popham's coach, and that was more just coaching techniques and different populations that you can, how you coach different populations differently. We all got to ask one question. My one question to the coach was, because I coach a lot of kids here locally, and I found that when you coach a kid, you're also coaching parents. And so my question was, how do you approach the parents of the younger people that you're coaching that may come to you thinking that they're their coach also? Right. And that is something, you create a workout plan for someone, and then the dad decides to alter that workout plan because they think that their idea is better. And he answered that respectfully too, which was basically they're the parents. There's not a lot you can do. Just encourage them to not do that. That's really it. So took some other courses on diversity, how to lead a run group. I took a bunch of classes while I was there, and that was the bulk of what I was doing. There was a silent auction. This is what I won. I had an opening, or my bid won. I can't show it on here because it's too big, but it's artwork of Walt Disney.
Oh.
And it's
cool.
so what it is they painted the picture of what his desk looked like when he was doing sketch work of Steamboat, Willie, whatever the Minnie Mouse was named before it was named or Mickey Mouse. And my bid won on this. It was like I ended up getting it for $65, but it was valued at $370.
Nice.
So I gotta get this bad boy framed. There was a ton of cool stuff though. A bunch of USA racing gear, autographs by Dakota Popin. I didn't bid on those because they weren't on. Like the autographs were on things that I wouldn't necessarily like display anywhere. It was just like on like the most random things. So I didn't bid on those. I did win a bottle of wine. I don't drink wine.
But you don't, yeah.
No one bid on it, so I was like, all right, I'll just throw $15 on here, and I ended up winning it. So, but that was pretty cool. They were giving away their big auction items. They had a Ragnar, 12-person Ragnar relay, completely paid for, that you could win, all expenses paid, and like not a lot of people there knew what Ragnar was, so nobody was bidding on it. And someone ended up wanting Ragnar for a whole thing. It's like $2,800.
Yeah.
And they got it, I think, for like $200.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
So you get to go pick 11 people to join their team, and it's all going to be paid for.
That's crazy.
Ragnar. Yeah, they had a ton of cool. They had a bunch of race entries that you could win, like that were hotel paid for. Chicago was one of them. Gate River Run here, because First Place Sports, the team that I run for, put that in as an auction item. So yeah, ton of cool stuff.
Very cool, man.
One of these times we'll all have to do a convention together.
It'd be fun.
So what's next? Not Boston's over.
Local. I'm just sticking to some local stuff. I'm going to try to get my half marathon time down. I'd like to get when I moved here, I was like right around 120, and I'd like to get back down to 120. I'm not there now. I've got a ways to go, but so I think that's my goal. Just focus on the half marathon and finish.
I don't know, man. If you were at 120, what was it? 124 at the halfway point at Boston?
No, I was right at 126.
126.
Yeah.
And you had another 13.1 to go. I think you could shave 6 minutes off of that, no problem.
Well, and then I ran 126 in Minneapolis on a hilly course on sore legs. Yeah. Like in my eyes, I think that was equivalent to like sub 124.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm in 124 shape right now. But yeah, I mean, still. And the half marathon is my favorite. It's for the last 2 years, I've been training for the marathon. Like, it'll be nice to not have to train for a marathon and just train for some smaller stuff, which I do a lot of them. I've never been in the shape to do a 5K because I never focused on a 5K. Never been in the shape to do a half because the last 2 years I haven't focused on a half. So it'll be good. I don't know. What about you guys? Well, Chase, I know you're still on a little bit of a running break. Right. I mean, you're running, but you're not focusing on races right now. But do you have anything you're considering?
My hometown half was a couple weeks ago. I think it was the weekend. That was the same weekend as your Minneapolis race. So.
Yeah.
But now that that's done, I don't know. I'm still kind of considering Indy, but I haven't really made a decision yet.
What about you, Carolyn?
Well, I just ran my 8th marathon last weekend in Pennsylvania.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk about that too, by the way. It's not breeze over that either.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get the time I trained for, but it was all on me. Like training went really well. I did not successfully carb load just because we flew into Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. It was like 12 hours of flying. So I wasn't really hungry. I was just focused on getting to Pennsylvania. And then the day before the race, I was just extremely nervous. It's a 500-person race, and it's a rolling start. So you can start anytime between 7:15 and 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So already when we parked, we got there at 7:15 a.m. and I just see a bunch of people starting and the nerves start kicking in. So I started with the 8 a.m. group. By mile 1, I was completely by myself and I was pretty much alone the rest of the race, which was hard. Fueling went really well. Hydration, they served UCAN, which I can't drink. So I was just basically water, salt tabs, and then my gels. And I hit a wall at 15. Yeah. So.
But you finished.
But I finished. Yeah. But honestly, I'm chalking it up to I did not carb load at all. I just didn't. I was nervous. I didn't try hard enough. So definitely working on that. And I'm running, so I've got New York City Marathon in the fall, and then I've got the Brooklyn Half next weekend. So I'm already starting to practice carb loading for that.
We always talk about how the hardest part of running a marathon is training for the marathon, right? And I think time-wise, it is. It requires a hefty amount of time.
Yeah.
But it's easy to forget how hard it is to execute on race day. Yeah. It really is, because one little mistake can trickle to a bunch of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And also you can never plan for weather events and all that good stuff too, but everyone runs in those conditions. But it is hard to run a marathon. Make no mistake about it. And a lot of it is just the execution. You could be in top-notch marathon pace and still have a bad marathon. Yeah.
And I think that's what happened
Absolutely.
too. And I kept waiting to hit a wall. And because at Chicago, I smacked into a physical and mental wall at 8. And after I finished mile 8, I was like, okay, maybe it's going to happen at mile 9, 10. And it finally happened at 15 because I kept expecting it to happen. And I'm like, dang, man, I should have just powered through. But
I will say this, Chase, you'll be happy to hear this. After running Boston again, Indianapolis Monumental is still ranked higher than Boston Marathon for me.
Oh, wow. All right.
I've
okay.
I've now. I'll still take Indianapolis Monumental.
Maybe I need to go to Boston again so I can have a fair comparison.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because I ran in time that I was happier with at Indianapolis. I liked the city, Indianapolis. I mean, Boston's a great city. I like Indianapolis a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I like that it was slightly, it's not slightly, it's smaller for sure, but it doesn't feel small. It's a fast course. The course is definitely better than Boston for sure. It's a very fast course. And just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I also have friends in the city that, we were able to stay with, we had a good time. You were there, meeting up with you, but the experience I had at Indianapolis still outbeats both my experiences at Boston so far.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm a big advocate for the Monumental Marathon. You guys both know that. I met you both there, so.
Of course.
Yes.
And I want to stress, Boston was great. It's still in my top 5, but Indianapolis, just from my personal preference, is still better.
And I'll tell you, Jake, if you thought the full marathon course was fast, try the half marathon course.
Yes.
You should try the half marathon course.
Does the half marathon have that? Because remember, in the full marathon, it's like at mile 20, there was that super steep downhill that kind of wrapped around.
Yeah, it was on an off ramp.
Yeah.
No, but you get more of a steady downhill coming back into the city.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a nasty incline at mile 9, and it's only bad because the road is uneven.
Yeah.
But after that, I have zero complaints about that half.
Maybe there's a half marathon in my October future. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'll be there one way or the other. I just don't know if I'm going to run the half or the full. So probably the full. Like I said, I really want to do. I want to try to get into New York next year, and in order to do that, I got to run a qualifying time this year. So
Yeah.
What happened to, oh, I don't know if I'm going to run another marathon again. Oh, I'm not training.
well, I mean,
It's still October.
stuff
You
happens.
still got time.
Oh, you
So
always,
okay. So I ran my half. I ran my hometown half.
Yeah.
So I did race. I'm racing. So
Yeah.
that's I've already given up that whole little thing, but I'm just not. I'm not putting it out there, right? Like I'm just not putting everything on social media. That tends to work better for me. A lot of people like the accountability of saying it out loud. To me, it's more like if I say it out loud and then it ends up not happening, then it's like that much worse. So, but anyway, I had a pretty decent race in my hometown half, so I'll definitely take that into some summer training and into whatever I do at Indy.
Do we get to hear what your time was?
Oh, at my
Tyler?
hometown half.
Yeah.
Um,
What was it? Did you go sub 120?
yeah.
Okay, then you ran a
did
great
you
race.
PR?
No, I didn't PR. It was 119.08 overall, which
That's-
was about what I was. That's about where I was wanting to be. I was trying to go sub 120, and
Okay,
it worked out pretty well.
guys,
That's awesome.
he's a 40-year-old still running sub 120s. That's
I know, old man. Like, we
really
thought he
good.
was on death's door, and then he goes and runs a sub 120. Wow.
I'm not racing. That's not.
So your hometown half, did you place top 5 with that time?
I won.
You won it? Okay.
Yeah, I won.
Didn't you say last year you had a guy that you had
Yeah,
to-
and he was about he was about right around where I was this year. He didn't show up this year.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't have that guy. There was another guy from Evansville, Indiana, that was there, who I knew, I was familiar with, so I knew what kind of running style he had. He's a very consistent, like he's one of those people that hits a pace and he's got one pace, like he'll maintain that same pace throughout the race. So I knew I just had to break him early. So I busted out a few sub 6s there for the first few miles, and once he was back a ways, I settled in around 6-minute pace. And that was it.
You just mentioned Evansville, totally off topic, but I got to ask, where you live, are you close to the Missouri border?
No. Well, I mean, I'm right on the Illinois border.
Okay.
So I'm as close, I guess I'm about as close to Missouri as you can get in Indiana.
Well, because Evansville is like right on the border
Of Illinois and Kentucky.
I must be thinking of a different Evansville. There's an Evansville.
Yeah. You're probably thinking of Evansville as, some other state.
There's an Evansville. Yeah, it's like right on the border of Missouri. I only know that because we recruit for Evansville, and it's a pain in the butt because Missouri has different license laws than the state that Evansville is in. But most people live in Missouri, so.
Now, Evansville, Indiana is not near Missouri. A whole state away.
Well, anyways, so you ran a good time, a 119.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was pleased with it. So
that's really good. Now I'm kind of jealous, but
I was trying not to tell you. You guys were.
Well, that's where again my goal is to get to 120. Like if I can get to 120 again, I'll be very happy, and it's going to take me a solid 7-8 months. Like hopefully by December we have a half marathon here. Is where I want to.
No, I think I'm just kind of at the point where I think I've joked about this a couple times already, but like for me to PR, like I've got to like train at like 10 minutes faster than a PR, because like trying to train at a PR and then you don't have it on race day. If I train to run 10 minutes faster than my PR, then maybe if I don't have it on race day, I'll still PR. I don't know. But I knew I just slapped together a training plan for this half marathon, and I think I set it at I think I set my VDOT around 118, maybe once. I might have been around 116 because I know I was cooking on a lot of workouts, but that's kind of where I was at. I was like, I'm just gonna set it right here, and we're just going to try to hit these paces.
That's awesome though. 119. And then you ran. What was your time, Carolyn, overall?
I did a 406.
406. What'd you do in Houston?
I did a 358 at Houston.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did try something, and it's based on like, because I wasn't really taking this super seriously, so I was doing a little experimenting in the week leading up to my race. But a lot of, I've been seeing a lot of stuff coming out recently about creatine. It's a very popular supplement these days. A lot of people are taking. They're saying that it's good for in a variety of different ways. So one thing that I did was I did like a loading phase of creatine the week leading up to the race. Every day for about the week before the race, I was doing probably 20 to 25 grams of creatine a day. That come race day, so what creatine does, right, is it absorbs water and then helps carry it throughout the body to the places that the water's not going to get to. That's what makes you heal faster from it. So come race day, though, I felt very bloated. I was full. Like, I was very uncomfortable. Like, it felt like I had just eaten like a full breakfast and I was going to go out there and run. But my legs felt like just great. Like, they were just like my legs and my energy levels were just like spot on. Like, I felt like I could just go forever. And like I said, the problem was I just felt like I was running on a full stomach.
Did that feeling go away though as you got into the run?
Not really, no. It didn't really. So like that is a negative to it. It was like I was fairly uncomfortable for a majority of the race. I altered my fueling strategy a little bit because of it. So I took one less gel than I was planning on taking 4 gels over the course of the race, and I only took 3. But I still tried to hit up the water stops on a pretty frequent basis because I was using goo energy gels instead of SIS. But like I said, the creatine, I think what it was doing to heal my legs and get those energy levels up really worked. So I might just have to figure out how to do that and see what I can do to subside some of the bloating. But it was just a fun little experiment that I did after some podcasts I was listening to, people touting it real big. So I figured I'd give it a try.
I don't even know. Like, do you just go to the local GNC store and buy some creatine, or?
Yeah, or you can go to Walmart.
Really?
You can order a first form. You can order a first form if you want to use my link.
First one. Got it.
But yeah, and creatine is the other thing that people like about it is it's so cheap, but when you start taking 20 to 25 grams a day, that's like 5 times the recommended dosage on the package. So eventually that's not going to be so cheap anymore if you're using 5 times of it as you're supposed to. But yeah, I've been taking creatine for a long time. I take 5 to 10 grams a day, but that was the first time that I had tried like doing a loading phase like that before a run.
That might be something to look into, though. Like, I'm willing, especially, I'm willing to try some new things at this point.
Yeah. It's very highly, like I said, touted right now. There's a lot of new studies coming out about it, and a lot of people, 5 to 10 grams of creatine a day is going to help with your muscle regeneration, your recovery. Like, it's just going to speed up all of those things because it's taking the water and it's distributing it throughout your body better.
That's good.
I'm also working on my nutrition certificate, so there's that.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with first form.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I'll be a nutritionist by the end of the year.
Very cool. Well, Carolyn, what do you got coming up next?
I got Brooklyn. And so the funny thing about that is, so I told myself that, I probably would never get into the New York City Marathon. So I wanted to run either the Brooklyn half or the New York City half. Last year, I did the New York City half. This year, I'm doing the Brooklyn half and the New York Marathon. So I'm doing every all the big New York races.
I'm wondering, what is the half marathon time that you have to run to qualify for New York?
Wow.
Mhm.
I know it's like
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Men's standard.
I know this is the last year that you can use a half marathon time.
Well, only if it's a non
New York.
You can still use half marathon time if it's
if it's a New York Roadrunners race.
New York
Okay.
Roadrunners time qualifier race. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I do have it up here. Qualifying time standards.
1:32.
okay, and I know there's like you have to run even faster than that too, because they only accept a certain amount of people.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I've never submitted a qualifying time. Qualified, I never actually submitted a time.
Yeah.
So for me, see, at 125, like I feel like I could go up there and run at 125. 258 is what I need for the marathon. Yeah. New York's just never been on my radar. Like I'll do it eventually.
I told myself that, I don't want to chase the world majors, but I do want to do the American ones. So I've done Chicago, I'm going to do New York, and then it's just, qualifying for Boston.
Fair, yeah.
I really liked somebody, I think it was Kofuzi one time, put a post up about like American majors. Like there should be just like American majors, and that should be like a thing.
Yeah.
And I think he even rated like his 6 favorite, which Indianapolis was one of those 6. And he was like Indianapolis, Houston, LA, because they were non-real majors.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else was in it, but
Detroit and Philadelphia always end up on people's lists.
Might be, yeah.
Speaking of other marathons, and I know we're running short on time here, but Kipchoge ran London.
Oh my God, he crushed it. Like, I know people didn't know what was going to happen because we didn't know, is he still in his prime? What's going to happen? But he did amazing.
Well, he's not in his prime. He's running ridiculous times, but he's definitely not in his prime.
To run a 203? 205. Amazing. At what, 40? He's 42? 44? Yeah,
40,
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Is that a Masters record?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Well, Bekele set the Masters record a couple years ago. I couldn't remember if that was faster than Bekele or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't look that up. But regardless, ridiculous time. He's still ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
It hurts me to say, he's not in his prime. He's still running ridiculous times. He's not in his prime, but he's still running ridiculous times.
Yeah. But, he ran with the lead pack to start out. So I think that maybe the heat got to him or something, but
yeah, possibly. I think it came in 5th, I think, overall?
Yeah, 5th or 6th. Yeah, really impressive.
So,
then
definitely good.
Grand Slam track Miami was this past weekend.
Oh, man.
Your Brooks boy came out with the short distance title. And then Grant Fisher, again, just doing Grant Fisher stuff, ran, I think it was the 5,000? Yeah, 5,000.
5K,
he ran his last 1,600 in like 3:54.
He won it comfortably.
Yeah.
Second, that pack, because there was a pack of 3 other runners behind him. They were behind.
It started out really, really slow. Like it did start out really, really slow. But I don't care how far if you've ran any kind of distance beforehand, and then you bust out a 3:54 mile to finish your race.
And during his last 100-yard stretch, he was doing the Jakob Ingebrigtsen, like cheering on the crowd and waving to him, and it's like, dude, he's running this and making it look easy. And he smoked
Jakob, I saw somebody say that too. Everybody was like, somebody just needs to ask the question that is on everybody's mind in the world right now. When is Grand Slam track going to get Jakob Ingebrigtsen into one of these events?
I wonder if they've tried and he's turned them down.
I'm sure they've had to have tried. He's one of the biggest names in the sport right now. I don't know what what his logic is there, but I'm kind of on the same page with Josh Kerr. I think it'd be hilarious to watch Ingebrigtsen run an 800, but I think Ingebrigtsen would do really good. I'd like to see him go up against Grant Fisher in that 3,000, 5,000 event. That'd be great.
That would be fun. No,
Yeah.
I did watch that, the 5K, and it was fun to watch.
Oh man,
It was fun to watch for sure. The hurdle, I don't know the names. I'm sorry, I don't follow the hurdlers, but I think it was the 400.
yeah, 400 hurdle
was super fun to watch too, even though I didn't know who I was watching really.
Yeah, they set a world lead, I think, in that one.
Yeah,
that I can't remember the guy's name either. Karsten Warholm out of Norway. Norway, whatever. Karsten Warholm, he set a 300 world best this weekend too. So,
I mean,
track and fields, rocking and rolling. But if you want to watch Diamond League, you got to fork over the cash for Flow Track.
well, where's your invite, Chase? I mean, you just busted out a 119.06. I mean, I feel like that should get you in there.
For what, like the 400 hurdles? That's. I'm trying to think of a 119 time that I would actually fit in there. I don't even think it would get in there.
No, just wanted to hype you up, make you feel better. Yeah, I have a random question, guys. Maybe you guys know the answer because I actually don't. Has there, in any of the marathon majors, has there ever been a non-elite runner, so someone that did not start in the elite corral, that has placed in those races? So like a wave run runner.
I think that would have been a great question last weekend, Jake, whenever you were with the more avid runner.
I was just thinking of this today. Because I was thinking of Des Linden and how Des was saying like, oh, I'm now going to be in wave one. I'm like, well, wouldn't it be cool if Des started in wave one and still miraculously won a race? Like, is that even possible? Well, you're starting, I think they start 2 minutes behind, so you already got a 2-minute disadvantage. Yes, it's chip time, but still.
The only exception, I think, it's not a world major, but Molly Seidel at the Olympic trials. This was her debut, and she ended up third.
I think that there's probably some. I mean, if you might have to go back a little ways before like a little bit of the running boom, but I bet you go to like maybe early to mid 90s, you probably find somebody like that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look it up. I mean, I won't have an answer today, but
yeah.
Yes, non-elite runners can absolutely place even when it doesn't. Well, it's not telling me. I want an actual name.
All right. Well, while Jake's looking that up, why don't we wrap it up? Carolyn, you want to tell everybody where they can find us?
Yes, you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can email us at runtalklive@gmail.com. You can listen on YouTube and Spotify. We're at RunTalk Live. I think that's... Yes, okay. And you can find me on TikTok at Carolyn McDuff and Instagram at Carolyn M. Levenway. Chase, where can people find you?
Chaser No Pacer, about any of the platforms. I'm not very active, but I'll still get back with you. Jake?
Hey, that's why I keep tagging you on everything, because I know you're not active, so I'm just going to tag you on everything. B, you can find me at The Cultural Runner, mostly on TikTok, a little bit on Instagram. And yeah, come follow all three of us, and more importantly, subscribe to this podcast, guys.
That was two-time Boston finisher Jacob Irwin. Signing off for the RunTok podcast.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right. Till next time.
See you later.